Okay, so I'd like to call to order the Addison Public Library Board of Trustees meeting Tuesday, December 15, 2020 at 6:30 p.m. Also, member participation for this meeting will take place via Zoom. Public comments can be submitted, and Mary will let us know, to Mary Medjo's email at medjo@addisonlibrary.org or by phone no later than 5:30 today. As well, member participation for all members who are participating, regardless of their physical location, shall be verified and be able to hear one another and be able to hear discussion and testimony. All votes that we conduct during this meeting shall be conducted by roll call, and each member's vote on each issue shall be identified and recorded. At least one member of the public body or the chief legal counsel or chief admin officer must be physically present in the regular meeting location unless physical presence is unfeasible due to a disaster. So we have our chief administrative officer, Mary Medjo Mzenge, who's here and present for this meeting. Each member of the public body who participates in a remote meeting like we are, held in accordance with the disaster requirements, is considered present at the meeting for purposes of determining a quorum and participating in all proceedings. Donna, roll call, please.
Christopher?
Here.
Maria?
Here.
Mary Ann?
Here.
Maria?
Here.
Linda?
Here.
Robert?
Here.
Judith?
Sorry, Judith, you're on mute.
Yeah.
Sorry, Judith, you're on mute. Can you hear it?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah. Yeah. There you
Yay!
go.
Here.
Fantastic. So thank you, Donna. So we have quorum. So next, I make a motion to approve the meeting agenda. Can I get a second?
Second.
Sorry, second by Rob. Roll call.
Christopher?
Yes.
Maria Piscopo?
Yes.
Mary Ann?
Yes.
Maria?
Yeah.
Linda?
Yes.
Robert?
Yes.
Judith?
Yes.
Motion passes. So next we'll move on to comments from the public. Again, like we mentioned before, and this is supposed to be for any public comment could be emailed to Mary Medjo at medjo@addisonlibrary.org or by phone no later than 5:30 p.m. It doesn't seem like we have anyone here. Mary, did we receive any public comment?
The only comments I received were from staff members who were honored with service awards tonight, asking me to convey their gratitude to the board for the gift baskets that were delivered to their homes this year, since we can't present them in person.
Great.
Great.
That's great to hear. Thank you, Mary. Next, we'll move on to the financial report by the treasurer, Mary Ann.
Revenue in November of 2020, $98,457.41. Year-to-date revenue, $5,680,077.28. Our expenditures expended in November 2020, $317,810.10. Year-to-date expenditures, $2,724,667.88. Our disbursements, $132,286.59 plus November 2020 payroll of $196,865.59. Our grand total for November of 2020 disbursements, $329,152.18. And that is it.
Thank you, Mary Ann. Are there any questions regarding the financial reports presented?
No.
No.
No. Okay. Fantastic. I don't know what I was gonna say. I'm surprised, but fantastic. So next we'll move on to the the consent agenda. So I make a motion to approve the consent agenda that consists of the meeting minutes and the treasurer's report as presented. Can I-
Second.
Thank you. Second by
Sorry.
Linda. No, you're good. Thank you.
We finished,
Linda.
I'm sorry.
No, you're good. Thank you, Linda.
Okay.
Second by Linda. Roll call vote. Donna?
Okay, Christopher,
Yes.
Maria Piscopo,
Yes.
Mary Ann,
Yes.
Maria,
Yes.
Linda,
Yes.
Robert,
Yes.
Judith.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passes. So next we'll move on to presentation. So employee service award presentations.
All right, let me share my screen here. And just a moment.
What a shame there were so many people this year.
Yeah,
And Donna too.
Yeah.
can you guys see this?
No, Mary.
No? All right.
It's on our board docs.
No, she's gonna share a screen, right? A video?
Oh,
Yes, correct.
oh, now it's coming.
Okay, there we go. Every December at our board meeting, we recognize employees for every 5 years of service to the library. This year, because of the pandemic, we aren't able to present the awards in person, but we still want to recognize the employees who will receive these awards. We have 6 employees who are celebrating 5 years of service to the Addison Library. We have 1 employee who has just celebrated her 10th anniversary on our staff. We have 1 employee who's been with us 15 years, and 1 employee who has been on the library staff for 20 years. Our employees are the most valuable resource this library has, and we're incredibly proud of the work they do. Let us tell you a little bit about each of them.
Happy anniversary, Michelle. It's your 5-year anniversary here at the Addison Public Library, and we're a much better place for having you with us. You started out as a shelver and were there for about a year before you became a materials management clerk, and you've been an important part of our team ever since then. Every year, you withdraw over 1,500 magazines that go into the Friends of the Library magazine sale, and you help with all kinds of projects throughout the year. You've been periodically cleaning desks throughout the entire collection. All of our DVDs are in better condition because of you. You help with call number changes, Battle of the Book changes. This past year, you helped us move the box books into the J Read Alone category. Anytime I ask you to do something, you're always willing to pitch in and be a real team player. You're kind and you're generous and you're just truly wonderful to work with. So thank you so much for being part of our team, and happy anniversary.
I'm here to congratulate Jessica Kariakopoulos on her 5-year anniversary at the library. I've known Jessica for a long time. She and her mom and sister used to come to the library for years before she started working here. And I got to know her and her family. And then I knew she was looking for a job and wanted to know if we had a shelter's job here. But at the time we didn't. But then once we did have a job, I thought of her and I called her, and she wanted to apply for the job. And she took the test. Shelters take the test before they can be hired. And the test is not easy. Jessica was the only person that made 100% on her test. And I hired about 28 shelters in the last 5 years. So she knows what she's doing. She knows the areas very well. She loves things in order. And that's great when you're a shelter, because that's what your job is. And she graduated from Elmhurst College a couple of years ago, and she would like to find a full-time job in a library because she likes reading and being in the library. So I hope she has a great future ahead of her. I know she does because she's very smart and dedicated to her job. So I'd like to congratulate her again on her 5 years. Congratulations, Jessica.
Louise Demick became our head of children's services 5 years ago during a period of transition. We had just undergone a reorganization of our staff and were in the process of renovating our interior spaces, including the children's department. Her perspective as a newcomer was really helpful in getting her team on board because she wasn't invested in how things used to be or the way we used to do things, and she was able to get everyone excited about the potential of what we could become. Louise always brings this focus on what will best serve the children and families of Addison to her work, and it's what makes her a remarkable leader for the children's services team. In the 5 years that she's been here, I think Louise has had some level of turnover every year, and each time she's done a phenomenal job in hiring new staff members for children's services who share her commitment to service and her passion for working with children. Louise is also on the steering committee of the Addison Early Childhood Collaborative, representing the library, and she has served on the Illinois Library Association's diversity committee. In her spare time, Louise is taking classes toward becoming a certified public library administrator. Thank you, Louise, for the last 5 years and the amazing work you've done, and I can't wait to see what the future holds for you.
I am so excited to celebrate Courtney's 5-year anniversary at the Addison Public Library. I knew that Courtney was going to be really special when I interviewed her. We always make sure that people we interview for teen services are there after school so they can see what it's going to be like to work at the library, and we also get to see them interact with teens. And Courtney stood at the top of the stairs, and one of the first kids to run up there started talking to her about games and movies, and she made an instant connection. And in fact, that kid has been coming to the library pretty much every day since talking to Courtney. I think that what makes Courtney so special and unique is that she makes that connection with everyone that she works with. She's so good at building relationships with our patrons. And I think she really brings that to all of the work that she does at the library. There are kids who started reading because of Courtney and who will only get book advice and movie advice from her. And she is responsible for starting our book box program at the library. And it is so popular. In fact, we're about to expand it. It's been such a success. And I think one of the reasons is the amount of care and attention that I see her putting into her selection of books for all of the teens who sign up. And a lot of the kids who do it because they know Courtney is picking the book for them. When Courtney does Reader's Advisory, people feel seen. They feel like she really gets them. And that makes them not only get a book in their hands that brings them joy, but it makes them feel like they're part of a bigger community. And I see that special development of relationships in Role Play Guild, which is one of the programs that Courtney has developed that I most admire. I don't know how many people know this, but it's not just Dungeons and Dragons. Courtney built her own game. She built and adapted rules so that it was easier for kids who had never done role play before to participate. And she has built this narrative with like 15 or 20 kids and keeps track of where all of them are. And it is this safe space for kids to play out anxieties to play out, personalities to play out, difficult social scenarios. And she is thoughtful about putting challenges and obstacles into the narrative that give them opportunities to do that. And again, these kids who participate have been coming for years because of the environment that she's created that makes them feel safe. And I think also because they know that she sees them and that she is helping them to grow. So I know I have learned so much from Courtney. I've learned about teenagers. I've learned about neurodiversity, and I've learned what real excellence in our field looks like. So I just want to say thank you to Courtney, and I'm really, really looking forward to another 5 years working alongside you. Stay around.
I am here to congratulate Faizan Khan on his 5-year anniversary at the library. He used to work at our cafe, Perks and Possibilities, before he was hired as a shelver. He's very polite and a wonderful person to work with. He does a lot of things. He shelves, he shelf reads, he empties the bins. He pulls a lot of items that are going to be weeded. And he's very considerate of other people. He's always on time, and he likes to work. He loves being at the library. So, congratulations, Faizan. You're a very nice person to work with, and we all like having you here.
Happy anniversary, Stephen. It's your 5-year anniversary here at the Addison. And I'm going to say without you. Everyone knows where you are because we hear your laughter and your wonderful voice and your sense of humor. Since you started at the library, you came in as a shelver and you were there for a few months before you became a materials management clerk. And you started there working with the magazines and then moved over to receiving. And now on an average month, you receive over 1,500 items that go into circulation for our patrons. You do a truly wonderful job and always have a great attitude, and we really appreciate that. Some of the projects you've done this past year is helping to do the J-Box books into the J Read Along category, and then you also helped with the literacy collection, getting the new bulk into the USA categories. So you did a lot of calling for changes for those. And our patrons appreciate it. Staff appreciate you, even if they're not quite sure what it is you all do. So thank you so much, and I look forward to another 5 years with you.
I would like to acknowledge Nicole and her 10 years of service at the Addison Public Library. Nicole has grown in her role as a guest services clerk and has contributed in many ways to help and serve our community. Nicole is always willing to take on any type of task and is always looking out for the department. She is always making sure that our supplies are being replenished by stocking up library cards, making sure curbside bags are ready to go, and in particular, helping out with making sure that our copies of our numerous of forms are being replenished. Most importantly, I would like to thank Nicole for always being there when the department has been short on coverage. In particular, this past June when the library reopened and guest services was short-staffed. So thank you, Nicole, for always willing to come in at any time and any day. We appreciate your dedication and commitment to the community. We look forward to many more years to come. Thank you, Nicole, and congratulations.
Donna Quick has worked for the Addison Public Library for 15 years, and she's worn many different hats during that time. She started as a senior shelver, and after a couple of years moved from adult services into administration, where she became our business assistant. A couple of years after that, she moved down to materials management, where she filled a clerk position. And then several years later, she came back to administration as our administrative assistant. 2 years after filling that role, she was promoted to become the coordinator of administrative services. One of the biggest assets Donna brings in having served in so many roles is that when we have a vacancy in any of these positions, she's already cross-trained. And there was one point a few years ago where she was doing the duties of actually 3 different jobs within the library at the same time. It was a lot for us to ask of anyone, but Donna never complained. She comes to work every day with a positive attitude and a smile on her face. She's been largely responsible for procuring all of the PPE that we have needed this year to keep our employees safe. She's responsible for making sure all of our vendors are paid on time as well as our employees. So she plays a really critical role in administration. And personally, I can say I am a better library director because of the support she gives me. So thank you, Donna, for 15 years of amazing support, both to me and to the Addison Public Library and the community we serve.
So first of all, I want to say congratulations, Sue, on your 20 years in the library. What can I say about Sue other than she is amazing? Sue used to work at the children's department before the organization, and now she collects material for the children's department. And she knows the collections up and down. She can answer any questions staff or patrons have about things in the collection. She's also up to date on the latest trends, always doing webinars, always doing looking at journals to see what's the new stuff in children's. And she's really tried to make an effort to have more diverse books in the collection. This is a big push for us, so she's really trying to make a multicultural, diverse, and well-rounded collection. She's also the go-to person for movies and graphic novels. Now, she gets some really complicated requests for these where people know the plot of the movie and have no clue what the movie title is. So she does a lot of work on that, and she's a whiz at searching titles and series and graphic novels. She just really knows it all. Sue is also always looking at the collections to see if shelves can be rearranged or items can be rearranged or even collections withdrawn to make room for new and emerging things. An example of this is with COVID, she bought a lot of books for children on COVID. And normally they just be shelved in the middle of the nonfiction collection, which is a little difficult to find. So she thought about it, and then she created the Coping with COVID collection, which is, as you come to the children's department, it's right there. So parents and caregivers, if they want to talk to their children about it, there's resources for them right there. And they don't have to go searching all over the place. Sue is wonderful to work with. She's always willing to collaborate with me on projects. In the past year, she helped me. This was a big project. We redid all the collection development manuals, and she helped me with that, and was a big part of it. And this coming year, we're going to be doing similar things with interlibrary loan updates of manuals and some documentation. And it's going to be a big project for her too. And staff know they can always go to Sue to help, whether it be wrestling with the printer in the back office, or finding that one book that the patron knows everything about, except they don't know the author and title. And she's willing to help staff find that one book that the patron really wants. So Sue, congratulations on your anniversary. I hope you have many more. And please know you're truly appreciated by me, the department, and the whole entire library.
Very nicely done, Mary.
Yeah.
Thank you. It was a collaboration with a lot of staff, and big thanks, especially to Ben Egler, who runs our creative studio, who put it all together for us.
Wonderful.
Did these people get to watch it?
Yeah, we shared it this morning with staff.
Oh, good, good, good.
Well, Donna did. She just watched it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Thank you, Donna, for being here for us.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
Yeah. Donna, you're amazing.
Mm-hmm. So thank you.
How many years did you work with a boot on, Donna?
Right.
Donna was like, I don't know if I should respond, but no, I mean, thank you for I feel like a lot of these people I've worked with, and I'm glad to see that they're here and they've had so many years, of service and continue to work and show up to work as they do such a critical job.
Yeah.
So then, if there aren't any other comments, we are going to move on to the next item on our agenda, which are reports and staff reports. Mary, is there any updates?
I don't have anything. I'm happy to answer questions if anybody has questions.
Any discussion or comments related to any of the reports that we received?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I had a thought, as I was reading through our notes, just how important the library is to people now that they're locked up in their homes and this thing has come down upon us. And your words about getting the word out, needing to get the word out. I thought of the sign on Lake Street that the village has, and I know that they use it for COVID updates, but maybe there's a way of using that for more words about the library being open, curbside pickup, drop-offs, and the website and the telephone number or something.
I believe we have had the curbside pickup and home delivery message as part of the current rotation for that sign. I'll verify tomorrow morning what else we might be able to add.
I have seen the curbside pickup on that rotation, so yes.
Yeah, that sign is very effective. Anytime we've promoted anything, there are people who drive on Lake Street do see it and respond.
Good. Maria, did you notice if the phone number and website were there by any chance?
I didn't, but I also wasn't totally stopped. I was just kind of, when I saw curbside pickup. I don't really remember if there was, although someone could just turn in right there and see if they, if they wanted to, or hopefully they would think about searching it up.
Yeah, yes, exactly. So that's great. And then I also had a thought about your strategic plan. It sounds great. I thought about collection development, which wasn't mentioned as one of the items of the strategic plan. A committee to develop our collections, or unless you feel that's already taken care of, Mary.
Well, we have a department who does that.
Okay.
And I imagine, Brooke, I don't know if you want to weigh in. We're in the very, very early stages of this. We're just forming the steering committee now. But I would imagine collection development will be addressed somehow through this plan in some way. Okay,
great. Thank you.
Yeah, we've kind of divided it into 4 areas, that we're going to work on. And so, just like there'll be staff training for all of those things, the collection will be part of all of those discussions too, and how it can support it, just because the collection isn't called out as one of the pillars. If that helps explain it a little bit.
Absolutely. And I wanted to thank you, Brooke, this is ahead of time, but getting the Addison Press into the Illinois, historical thing. I thought that was great. I didn't even know about the Addison Press, so thank you so much.
You can search it for free on our website too. If you want to search for your name or anything in there, it's available.
Thank you. That's great.
Thank you. Are there any other discussions or comments related to any of the staff reports?
Linda,
sorry, Linda, you're on mute.
Just so much going on, even though working from home, your reports don't seem any different than they do when the library is basically open. there's still a lot of activity, a lot of stuff getting done.
I will say we were much better prepared this time to close the building and to keep staff busy. And we knew how we can continue working and try to keep things as seamless as possible. Certainly are still patrons that miss being able to come in, but we're doing everything we can think of to try to continue serving.
I know that I struggle sometimes even with downloads and sometimes where they go. And I'm not exactly sure, like I downloaded something to a Kindle and didn't show up in my Kindle. Are we giving any more like instruction on Zoom for things that maybe wouldn't be like more people downloading? Like especially
we do one-on-one appointments with patrons. They can call or contact us through our chat reference service and a library, and we'll work with them. We have a software called ConnectWise that allows us, with the patron's permission, to connect to their computer, and so we can show them on their screen what to do. So I don't know.
I think if people aren't coming in on a regular basis, and now maybe there would be more interest in perhaps downloading or doing something, the more that we could probably that those things are available, probably you would get a lot more people interested right now.
That is true.
They don't have any other choice other than the curbside, but you have to know what they want first.
That is
right, but they can call for that. And yeah, I agree. I mean, there's a treasure trove here at the library that people can make use of, and keep sane, stay sane. The movies, just the movies is great, are great. So yeah, I agree, Linda.
Yeah, the initial response to the bundle up movie night offering that we've made available has been huge.
Yes.
How many holds did we have, Brooke, in the first few days? Do you remember?
I think we had about 8 or so, which doesn't seem like a lot until you're trying to select movies for 8 people on 8 different topics. There's a lot of pressure to get it perfect. But yeah, that was just within a couple of days, and I'm not sure we had really done much promotion at that point.
No, we hadn't promoted it yet at all. It was on the website.
Blocks, yeah, on the website or something, but I don't think it had been on Facebook yet.
Yep.
I just noticed, I think Linda has some connection issues. Her screen was frozen, so hopefully she logs back in. But we could talk about monthly statistics. So hopefully it gives her enough time to, there you are, Linda.
I'm just going to warn you that I was on a Zoom meeting the other day and I lost the connection 6 times.
Okay.
Oh, no.
That's never happened before, so I'm not sure what's on. But
okay.
So
Thank you, Linda. Okay. Thank you, Linda. I did mention, I was like, I think she's having connection issues, but we'll move on to monthly statistics.
Okay.
Anybody has any questions before we go on to the voting part of the of our agenda? So are there any questions or comments related to the monthly statistics that are presented?
No.
No.
Skewed right now that it's hard to even comment on them, right? They're
yeah. So then what we'll do next is then we'll move on then to the next part of our agenda, which is new business. So the first item is actually a discussion item that's related to serving our public 4.0 chapter 7 and 9 review. So as a part of our grant for the Illinois State Library per capita grant, the board will review certain parts or certain sections or certain chapters as a part of the grant. So this month, we were asked to review chapter 7, 8, and 9 at this month's meeting. So thank you, Mary, for including the attachment, because then at least we get to see what are the new, like any new updates. And so this time it talked about collection management, system member responsibilities and resource sharing, public services, reference and readers advisory services, and readers advisory service checklist. So as far as the sections that we had to review, anything that stood out or any comments anyone would like to make?
I have one comment under the collection management list.
Oh.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Oh dear.
Hopefully when she logs back then she could ask she could ask the question related to collection management. Is there anything that stood out for anyone else related to the sections we have to review?
I was just thinking how it relates back to what I said at the beginning in terms of strategy, collection development, you know, and Mary said, yes, we already have a group for that. So they, of course, would be working on perhaps system delivery and reciprocal and you know, other sorts of cooperative lending situations, as well as collection development. So I had that thought and felt like, yeah, we can move forward on this.
And I was reading the part related to the collection management checklist about agreements with past neighboring libraries for foreign language collections, that we do not have a partnership. And I will say that that part of the collection is, I feel like, hard to find, you know, books and resources for in that area for collection development for foreign languages. I'm glad that we have books in the children's department in a variety of languages, at least the ones that we're able to get. But they sometimes I feel like those are a lot harder to find purchasers for.
Right. When I started working in Addison, we were part of the DuPage library system back when there were more systems than there are today. And within the DuPage library system, Addison was responsible for the Spanish language collection. Other neighboring libraries took different languages. And so if we had a patron who wanted Polish books or Hindi books or Russian books, we would refer them to another library in our system that had agreed to develop that collection. We were just doing Spanish. And then at some point that sort of fell apart, and we decided we had a robust enough budget that we would develop whatever collections our community wanted. And Polish was important to our community. We decided instead of sending them out of town to another library to find Polish books, we will do our best to develop a Polish collection here. So it's not that we're unwilling to share our resources. We are just very fortunate to have a budget that can support doing as much as we can locally within our own building. Telephone books were another example. Every library in our system was responsible for a particular state, and we tried to collect every phone book that existed for that state. Now that information is available online, and people don't turn to the libraries for physical phone books anymore, so we don't need that agreement anymore. But those sorts of agreements are still very important in other parts of our state where libraries aren't as well funded. In smaller communities, you can't have everything your community needs, so you sort of form alliances with your neighbors, and everybody agrees to specialize in one area, and then you share your resources. But in the suburban area, we've kind of gotten away from those agreements in more recent years.
And how do you think Addison is doing with its Hispanic books?
I think we have, honestly, I think from working to where I'm at now, I'm just seeing the collection development. Honestly, I think out of the collections, that's I don't want to say the best developed in the foreign language, but there are a lot more books than what there used to be as far as for the children's department. And I also think it's related to where we could purchase, books in another language. So not that they're limited, but there's only certain companies, right, Mary, that carry certain books that you're able to order. So it really depends on whether or not they even have the book. Because I know that back in the day, not that far back, I would request like chapter books in Spanish, and it just really depends on who has it in their collection.
Right. I think we're doing as well as we can, honestly.
Good.
Linda, were you going to ask your question?
I think she answered it in the meantime, and the less I talk, the better off my internet is. It seems ridiculous, but it seems like every time I talk, I lose.
I'm sorry, Linda. I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Thank you, Linda.
She did answer it.
Yes, she did. Okay, good.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I would say also we could email Mary too as well if we.
No, she as I came back on, she was actually answering it, so it was fine.
Okay, fantastic.
The other thing I will add, if any of you saw the governor's press conference this afternoon, there are going to be major cuts to the state's budget, including grant offerings to different agencies within the state. I haven't seen details yet. Library directors in our area were communicating this afternoon to see if anybody knew whether this would also include our per capita grants, and nobody seems to know yet. But I think until we know for sure, we have to continue fulfilling the requirements for the application and assume we'll be able to see the application as we do every year. But there is a possibility, given what the state is facing with their budget, that this grant may end up not being available to us this year.
Oh, wow.
But
thank you, Mary, for letting
reviewing these standards is not a bad thing for us anyway.
Right.
Are there any other comments or any other questions related to chapters 7 through 9? No? So this completes our trustees review of chapters 7 through 9. So then next we'll move on to our first action item, which is the pandemic response in library operations. Sorry, I'm trying to flip between my screens. So I make a motion to follow Mary Maggio's recommendation related to what we have currently, which is keeping the library closed to the public, but continuing to allow staff to come in and work or work from home where possible, reassess in January.
Second.
So second by Linda. Discussion.
I wanted to add that sometime late last week, I think on Friday, after I had put this information into board docs, the governor has extended the tier 3 mitigations that are in place now through January 9th. So that doesn't bring us quite to the January board meeting date, but it does suggest that since the original decision was made in November when we were transitioning to this mitigation phase, we are going to continue being in that phase as a state, at least through January 9th.
Mm-hmm.
Got it. Yeah, I hope we can use it as an opportunity to get the word out there in a way we never have before about the valuable things that are here at the library for people. That's the thought I have. Yeah.
Thank you, Judith. Is there any other maybe discussion or comments related to the motion? I am glad we're waiting, at least for me personally, until January. I think you put in our, as far as information, our numbers in our local community, our percentage is still pretty high. I think waiting until January is great to give us enough time, especially if people plan on traveling, you know, during this vacation period that people have off. So I think it gives us another opportunity to reassess come next month to see what it looks like for us in our community.
Does that rolling rate change when you say that Addison has a 19.48% rate? Is that so different from where Illinois is right now? Is they don't use a rolling rate though, right? So that 9.3 that was indicated today, how does a rolling rate make it so different?
So I know that at least for data, I know that the place that she's referencing for Northwestern pulls the data from the CDC. So it looks at what our local numbers are for us specifically based off people who are tested and people who test positive.
Mhm.
I don't know if I wasn't paying attention to the governor's orders today, what percentage he was citing, but that could very well be, I don't know if that's an average for the state itself.
Right, right. And I know Addison is way higher than that average is, right?
Correct.
Right. And the fact that there are so many restaurants that are open, it's hard to believe that there could be that many people kind of defying the order to not dine inside, right?
Correct.
I think defying is the right word.
Well, you know, there's a fine line between somebody's right, and I get it. It's a struggle right now for businesses, and I certainly do understand that. You know, but I passed a particular restaurant the other day, and their parking lot was jam filled. There is no way that socially distant could have been possible. You know, so crazy times, that's for sure.
Yeah, it is crazy. It is crazy. I hope people write books about it and we can have them in the library.
Yeah, I listened to an interview today that they are actually comparing this pandemic to September 11th and the recovery. They were forecasting what the recovery will be. It's really quite interesting. There's so many things that they don't know yet. You know, September 11th happened and it was over, and the recovery started right away. So this would be, you know, quite a bit different in terms of businesses not surviving, you know. Anyway, sorry, I didn't mean to.
No, thank you, Linda. So roll call vote, Donna?
Christopher.
Yes.
Maria Piscopo.
Yes. Sorry.
Mary Ann.
Mary Ann, you're muted.
Sorry, Mary, you're muted.
There. It flipped up and it said the host had muted me.
No, never.
Yes.
Maria.
Can you hear me?
No, sorry, Mary Ann, did you say your yes or no?
Yes, yes.
Sorry. Thank you. Thank you, Mary Ann. Yes, Donna.
Maria.
Yes.
Linda.
Yes.
Rob.
Yes.
Judith.
Yes.
Motion passes. So next we'll move on to the next action item, which is reviewing the closed session minutes. So we could either, if we make a motion, we could either make a motion to either release or retain the written closed session minutes.
I make a motion to release the 12/18/2018 and the 3/19/2019 closed session minutes. The recordings can be destroyed, but the actual minutes have to remain intact.
Huh.
I
would
second.
that. Yeah, I would second that, yeah.
So Donna second.
So you want the minutes for those meetings to remain sealed and closed?
But the recordings can be destroyed, but the written minutes
Correct.
have to retain.
Yeah.
I remember the 12/18/2018. It was a lawsuit. And I'm not a lawyer, but the statute of limitations are not up on that.
Any discussion related to the motion presented?
Oh, I'm still a little bit confused. We are releasing then, so when you, what happens then?
The recording can be destroyed, but the written minutes have to be maintained.
Sealed, still closed?
Yeah.
And
Still
Mary,
closed.
you made the motion to release only the audio recording and retain the written.
Correct.
Got it.
But people can't read the written because it's sealed, is that correct?
Correct.
They're still closed.
Okay.
So we still
Okay.
have copy of it retained for our records. We're just releasing the audio.
Okay. Destroying the audio.
Yes, correct.
Okay.
Better word. Yes, destroying. Not
I
giving it to
think the
someone.
problem was the word release. People thought it meant like giving it out, but
No,
really
no. Yeah.
is
Now, and Mary, when
destroyed.
you destroy it, what do you do specifically with the audio recordings?
Take it.
I will have to check and see if these are digital recordings or if they are our
Cassettes.
older recordings were actual cassettes. And if they're cassettes, then Greg actually physically destroys them with a hammer. And then we cut the tape up. If it's a digital recording, we'll just erase it, delete it.
Thank you, Mary, for the clarification.
I've done the cutting and the hammer, not for the library, but for the village. It takes a lot of frustration out of people.
Seeing as we have a motion and a second, and we had some discussion, Donna, roll call, please.
Christopher,
Yes.
Maria Piscopo,
Yes.
Mary Ann,
Yes.
Maria,
Yes.
Linda,
Yes.
Robert,
Yes.
Judith,
Yes.
Motion passes. Mary, does that mean I still have to make the second motion?
No, you did it all with a single motion, so we're good.
Correct. Okay. Thank you.
I try.
Yes. Thank you, Mary. So next we'll move on to closed session. So at this time, it doesn't seem that we need to go into closed session for anything. So then we'll move on to correspondence and announcements. So library in the news. Any discussion or comments?
So back to our discussion about more information going out there, and I know that we're doing a really of educating companies, but this article really was pretty much geared toward that same thing of getting as much information out there. We have a lot of resources that I know that as much as we publicize, people still are not aware of all of the information that we have.
Right.
I'm gonna lose that because I could see it.
It was actually shared with me by our business librarian. So it, when she sent it to me, she told me it gave her a lot of ideas of things she wants to start working on.
Good.
We're actually
Okay.
this month doing our annual performance reviews with all of our employees and working on goal setting for the year ahead. And Leslie told me that a lot of her goals that she's going to propose to Kathy, her supervisor, are stemming out of the ideas she got from these articles.
Great.
Very good.
Yeah, they were great articles. Inspiring.
Are there any other comments or discussion on library in the news? If there are, we could do other correspondence.
Thank you.
Any comments or discussion on other correspondence?
I thought the letter from the Office of the Secretary of State for reopening libraries, I guess that's too soon. But, you know, the guidance for libraries is the thing to read. I assume since it's in our package that we have that guidance for libraries. Yes.
Yeah, it's something we used over the summer when we were reopening the building the first time. I will say, I found Director McCormick's letter a little disappointing, as did a lot of our area library directors. We already had this information. He's telling us what we already knew. And we've seen in other states, public libraries are getting more guidance from their state libraries and state associations. And we're just not getting anything that we didn't already have from our state. And
welcome to Illinois.
Yeah. I'm saying it's the Illinois Department of Public Health and that they've asked and not gotten information from them, but it would be nice if we had a more cohesive statewide plan. We're sort of borrowing information that they put out for retail or for museums or for, you know, other types of businesses that are somewhat similar to us and trying to adapt them. But there hasn't been a whole lot of guidance specifically for what public libraries should be doing. And
in honesty, that almost should be nationally. It shouldn't even be state by state. It should be something that everybody is following across the country.
Yeah.
Hello.
Same.
Except we're not run federally, we're run locally.
Yes, I know, but this is a pretty big, this is an unusual situation.
Right.
You know, and I think it should be pretty much, guidelines should be out there across the country.
Yeah. And, you know, I think it will be within 3 to 6 months. I think it will be. But, you know, my lips to God's ears, right?
Okay.
Thank you, everyone, for your comments and discussion on this. So next, the only thing we have left is to adjourn.
Merry Christmas. Stay well, stay safe.
I'm missing Rob's ornaments. You know, when you guys, Rob used to bring us an ornament every year for Christmas, and you guys haven't stepped up to the plate. No, nobody's taken Rob's place.
We're waiting on you, Linda.
I know, yes.
Not creative. Okay. He and his wife used to hand make these ornaments. They were quite cool.
They were nice. They were really nice.
Yeah.
We just need our Rob here to do it.
There you go. There you go.
Happy holidays to all of you. Stay well and stay safe, right?
You too.
Happy holidays to everyone. Stay well, stay healthy.
Right.
I
Bye,
heard a
everyone.
wonderful thing today. Stay safe, stay kind, stay strong.
Well, that's very
Very
nice.
cool.
It is very cool.
Yeah.
So we adjourn to, I make a motion to adjourn.
Motion, yes, I make the motion.
Thank you, Piscopo. Second. So we adjourn at 7:29 p.m. Thank you, everyone.
Good night.
Good night. Merry Christmas.
Good night. Merry Christmas.